WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Oh well, I don't know how rare this is, but I have batch number 5 versus batch number 4 of the Glenallachie 10-year-old Cask Strength. This is whiskey base number 178036. This is at 55.9. This is 56.1. This is Pedro Jimenez, Oloroso, Virgin Oak, and Rioja casks. This is, good question. So, wait a second. Glenallachie 10 batch 4. So, I can't spell the word Glenallachie. So professionals would actually remove this from their video, which I'm not going to do. So this is Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso Sherry Puncheons, we know that, and Virgin Oak. So we have here Rioja added to this. This was 15,600 bottles. This was 27,000 bottles. So basically almost double amount. This was on the market in Germany for about 6 months. This was on the market in Germany for 6 days, and it was sold out. It's crazy. They're going. I paid 59 euros for this. At the moment, this is going for a price in the secondary market of over 100 euros, which is just unbelievable, right? I can't believe it. I don't know if you can believe it or not, but that's the way things are at the moment over here. We have a very, very overheated market. So what can I say about this? That's about it. All right, so what I can say is I did a blind tasting just recently with my super fans over here. Super fans are the people who support me with Patreon and so on. And blind, we had an Abalauer Abanau. We had the batch number 69. We had Aaron the Bodega. We had a Glenallachie Cask Strength batch number 9 Cask Strength. We had a Glengoyne Cask Strength batch number 8. And we had a Tamdhu batch strength number 5. And we had the 4. The 4 blew everything out of the water. The only thing that even came close was the Aaron Bodega, and that was not even really close. The loser of the evening was, just for your information, the Glenallachie Cask Strength batch number 9 because it had sulfur. We did not like that. Tamdhu was not the best. And also, to be very honest, the Abalauer Abanau batch number 69 did not do very well either, which I actually liked, I thought, but compared to the other things. So Glengoyne Cask Strength was really nice. It was number 3 for me. The Aaron was number 2, and for me here, this one without even... It was like it didn't even rave. If it was a boxing match, it was like he won 1 punch, 2 punch, boom, everyone's knocked out. It was so clear. Whoops, I forgot to pour my whiskey. I'm talking the whole time, so it has a little bit of a moment in the glass to develop. Now, this is something that just, I asked my wholesaler. So I buy wholesale at the moment where I can. And so I went to my wholesaler. I said, give me 6 bottles of this. And he said, I'm sorry, Jason, we can give you 2. We want to spread the joy as much as possible. They're getting like 200 different retail requests for the one wholesaler, and they say, hey, we only got this limited amount of bottles for Germany. Usually Germany gets 10% of the global output. Not always, but usually. So if we go from 27,000 bottles out, from there we have about 2,700 bottles in Germany, and I said they went like this. This, on the other hand, was just recently voted a day or 2 after this came out in the German market as the best whiskey of the world 2020. And of course, this disappeared from the market as well. Oh, by the way, it's empty, but what I do have is the rest of my sample here from our blind tasting. So this is actually the batch number 4. That's it. I don't have any more of it. So I'm going to compare the 2 and tell you which one is better. And to be very honest, it's almost difficult. Now you would think that the Rioja, the red wine cask from Spain, did a massive difference in the whiskey. I just can't get it. For those of you that are new to Glenallachie, this used to belong to Pernod Ricard, Chevis Brothers. and they sold it to Billy Walker. Billy Walker sold Glendronach, Glenallachie, and Ben Riach to Brown-Forman. He used the money together with some other investors and bought the distillery Glenallachie. So this is 10 years old. This was 5 years ago, basically, he bought it. So this has a basis, basically, of a 5-year-old ex-bourbon cask matured whiskey, and the rest, those Pedro Jimenez, those Oloroso, those Virgin Oak, as well as Rioja casks, come together. So you can't it's not 5 casks, it's actually different casks that matured to marry that together to produce this batch. And I must admit, Billy Walker and his team did a great job here. All right, so first of all, color. So this is the 5, this is the 4. Do you see a difference? I actually don't. There's not much of a difference at all to recognize. So on the color, if I look at them, I actually have the feeling they're within like 5% of each other. I'm not able to tell the difference. On the nose, I do tell it. I can tell a difference. I get chocolate, I get vanilla, I get wood, oak, I get sweet wood, I get dark, overripe blueberry / blackberries, and I get brown sugar. A little bit of raisin. Very, very good. On the nose, there's actually a nosing thing here. So let's see what this says here. Lashings of heather honey. I've never had heather honey. Have you? I've had many, many, many dozens of different types of honey. I've never had heather honey. I got to go out and do that. Dark chocolate and mocha with almonds. I don't get the almonds. I'm sorry. Cinnamon and orange peel. Don't get the orange peel either. Over here. On the nose. I must admit that I like the nose and the batch 4 a little bit better. To go with a whiskey tribe, I'm doing percentages here. About 20% difference. 20% is too much. It's 20% better, but it's 10% different. I don't know if that makes sense. It's smoother, it's richer, it's less alcohol. Now this is 56.1 and this is 55.9, so it's 0.2% difference. They're both 10 years old. On Whiskey Base, actually someone wrote, no way in the world is this a 10-year-old whiskey. He says it's a 15-year-old whiskey. Could be, for all I know. Now, just to be clear, the only age statement is the youngest whiskey. So if Billy Walker took, and I'm not saying he did, but imagine he took 1,000 barrels of 20-year-old whiskey and put one 10-year-old whiskey barrel in there, the entire lot became 10 years old, just so you understand the concept. So there might be older stock in here, which we usually used to do in the old days. In the 80s, that was common practice to have much older whiskey in there. If you go to Glendronach, the 18-year-old, there was much older whiskey in there than the 21-year-old because of the mothballing of the distillery, rather than the date. So if you bought an 18-year-old on Glendronach, it might have actually been 21, 22, maybe even older, and so on and so on. So it's not unusual for Billy Walker to bottle whiskey at an older age and yet have a younger name, a younger number on that label. There's less of a burn, there's less of the orange peel, there's more of a black English breakfast tea. There's a little bit more of that wood, especially of the sweet wood in there. A little bit more of the raisins, and the milk chocolate this is more of a dark chocolate, and this is more of a milk chocolate. All right, on the nose it says here, dark chocolate. I said milk chocolate. Vanilla pods and treacle. Treacle is a very sweet, it's almost like a molasses type of thing, with rich notes of orange peel and cinnamon. Oh, looky there, no almonds. Interesting. All right, let's try them. Now, I know for a fact that both of these are cask strength, and I know for a fact that I like to have them a tiny little bit reduced. I like to have my whiskeys, I'm a weakling. I like to have mine at like 53%, but for the first taste, we'll compare both of them at cask strength. Like God, Billy Walker, the master creator and master blender of awesome whiskey in Scotland, actually thought that would be best. Cheers. A very good whiskey. A tiny little bit hot for me. Oh, yeah. So the hotness is there, and then it dissipates, and then it just keeps on going. It's complex. There's a lot going on here. There's that cinnamon in there. There's a little bit of clove in there. There's some dark wood in there. There's a little bit of that. I'm going to just say actually more of the sweet wood. My mom used to make me sweet wood tea. I love that. There's that dark. I'm going to go away from the blueberry for a moment. An overripe blueberry sometimes, but it's actually an overripe blackberry. A little bit of raisins. So what you do have the Pedro Jimenez, you do have the Oloroso. What I'm not getting, and that's what I should get with the Oloroso sherry, is a little bit of a nuttiness. Maybe I'm getting it, maybe I'm just not recognizing as nuttiness. There's so much going on here. More like a macadamia nut, actually, be honest. What I'm not getting, and that's really bothered me the whole time I've tried this whiskey now. I'm almost down past the neck, not yet, but I'm getting there. Is I'm missing that red Rioja Spanish wine moment. It's not evident. Now, if you are actually a good cook, and let's say you're a great cook, and you have your rack of seasonings, and you use that one seasoning, and it should not actually stick out like a sore thumb. It should actually act sometimes as a catalyst to get other things to come out even more. And I have the feeling that somehow Billy Walker and his team, I'm going to say team on purpose here, somehow created something where the Rioja is not the signal note, it's not the light tower, the lighthouse, but rather that the electricity and the powers of the light bulb is the Rioja. And this really, really supports and really, really elevates a lot of other things in here. This is a B plus, A minus whiskey, in my opinion. Much better with a little bit of water, in my opinion, but that's just the way it is. I like this whiskey a lot. So going over here to my batch number 4, which I liked a lot, I thought as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's 2 things that I don't like about this whiskey. I love this whiskey. This is a great whiskey. But 2 things I like this better. There's an astringency in here. There's tannins. There's an overload of dark tannins in here that I'm not partial to compared to this. All right, so on the nose, I said this was the milk chocolate and this is the dark chocolate. On the palate, this is the dark chocolate and this is the milk chocolate. Now, this has a little bit less alcohol bite, even though it has more alcohol. This has a little bit less, but what I can do here is I can dilute it down just a tad. And then it turns into a majestic whiskey. This is a superb whiskey, and this is a majestic whiskey. All right, so we're talking superlatives here. But they're both very, very, very good. So if you can get your hands on batch number 4 or batch number 5, do it. As I said, the price over here is 60 euros at the moment, which translates into about $75. At the moment, if you go on secondary market, if you get lucky, you get it for 80, which turns into about $100. Even for that price, I might think about it. Batch number 4 was swooped up over here as soon as it won the awards. It's all gone. Batch number 5 evaporated within days of it actually hitting the market, which I think is a shame, but hey, that's what happens when you build up a fan community that really wants your whiskey. Now, some of you might also know that I actually did with my super fans a mega 12-year-old blind tasting. And one of the things that we had in it was a Glenallachie 12-year-old. It basically won. It was the Macallan 12 won, but it was second place. For me, it's still, for some of the people like the Macallan, some of them like the Glenallachie more, but it was way, way up there at the top and very, very nice. And if you look at the price, value for money, the Glenallachie 12 was half the price of the Macallan 12, at least over here in Germany. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack this up and get rid of this. and I'm going to pull out the 15-year-old Glenallachie. Now, it's very, very important to remember two things about Glenallachie. The first thing is there are batches, batch 4, batch 5. And the second thing to remember is, for example, here, I have, in contrast to the Scotch test dummies, if you look at their bottle, I have the January 2020 bottling. So look at this. This is dark, and if you look at the Scotch test dummies bottling that they just did a few weeks ago, that was much, much lighter. Now, why? Because you should not forget that Billy Walker took over the distillery 5 years ago, and he inherited about 40,000 bottles worth of whiskey. And that whiskey was mainly in refilled bourbon casks. Since then, he has recast those and put them into, for example, sherry casks. And they've been in there now for 5 years. Now, if you have a bottle from Scotch Toss Dummies that they bought 3 years ago, it was only in those good casks for 2 years. My bottle has been in there for almost 5 years. And that makes a big difference. And not talking about a big difference, it makes a major, decisive difference. So my 15-year-old batch 2020 is much different from a 2018 batch. Why? Because Billy Walker can only change the whiskey starting at a period, and for year, it's getting better and better and better. And that's very, very important. So this is very, very good stuff. What I am now doing with my super fans is I have a mega 15-year-old challenge. What we do is we take 18 bottles of 15-year-old whiskey. We put them in 3 brackets of 6 each. Bracket 1, bracket 2, bracket 3. And the winner and the runner-up goes in the finals. And right now we're 2 weeks before the finals. And so we're going to see which one's going to win. I expect Glenallachie to either be 1, 2, or 3, and if it's number 3, I'm going to be very disappointed again. We have the Glenturret with 55.5%, which some people love. We have the Glendronach, the Revival 15, which a lot of people love. And we have the Glenallachie, which is this, and it's all blind. They don't know which one is which. They do know which of the 6 are in there, and from the very beginning they knew which of the 18 were in there. But that is what we're doing, and I love doing these blind challenges in German with my super fans, with my fans that watch this channel. I can send out up to almost 100 sets of 6 each with 3 CLs, and we do this all together. And at the end, which is really, really cool, which no one's doing yet, maybe someone might copycat me, is we actually vote online live. It's not me that decides which one it is, but actually my fans decide. So I'm one of 45, I'm one of 69, I'm one of 100 votes to see which of these whiskeys is actually the best out there. And that's very good that we have the community, at least in Germany, doing things like that together with me. All right, so if I taste the 15-year-old, and it's an excellent, excellent whiskey. It's a very sweet, a very succulent whiskey. That sherry comes right through. That oak is totally there. That dark chocolate, everything you wanted from an old Glendronach is still there in a new Glenallachie. Wonderful, wonderful whiskey. But, and that's the only thing I must mention, non-chilled filtered, no color added, age statements, ABV. This is 46. This is 55.9. And this gives this the win. I like the Cask Strength better. It's got more boom. All right, this is a fabulous, fabulous whiskey. But hey, it's 46%. Some of us geeks like to have Cask Strength. And that's why this is actually my winner of the evening between the two of them. This is a B++, A-, whiskey. If you can get it for 60 euros or even less, it's going to be actually a C, a plus, B-, whiskey for the value for money. I would actually pay up to 80 euros for this thing. And I can highly, highly recommend the newer, especially the newer bottlings from Glenallachie to anyone. The 12, the 15, the 10. The 18's not there yet where it should be. Wait for the 18 another couple of years. And many, many, many of their other bottlings, single cask bottlings and so on are good. But, this is my experience as well, so far the core range has almost been better. Personal opinion. Mm. 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 Thank you very much for watching. What is your favorite Glenallachie expression out there? That would interest me more than anything else in this video. Is it the 15? Is it the Cask Strength 10? Is it the 12? Is it a single bottle expression you picked up someplace? Is it one of the, I think there was 122 expressions last year, the year 2020, just alone from Glenallachie and the whiskey base. It's amazing the rate that they're putting out bottles at, but I really, really do love what they're doing with the core range. One little comment, this is the packaging. It doesn't pop. Look at the Lustel, that pops. Look at the Springbank, that pops. Even the Talisker 18, that pops. Even the Teeling pops. I could show you all these other bottles that pop. This is just kind of bland. It's old man's whiskey. It really doesn't grab your attention and you say, hey, look at me, buy me, buy me. It's more like I can find it in the store shelf if I'm looking for it, but I would think, I don't know about a rebranding, but a little bit of a lightening of some colors, a little bit more of a, instead of the darker, more of a brighter color tone palette. Personal opinion. WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of American. Please like, subscribe, tell others, share this video on social media, and tell others about this crazy guy over in Europe tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Sometimes rarer, sometimes not so rare. Bye-bye.